Most people who fail at raising chickens don't fail because chickens are hard, they fail because they never stopped to think before they started. No plan, no research, no numbers, just excitement and a handful of chicks. And within months, they're overwhelmed, out of pocket, and wondering where it all went wrong. If you're serious about turning your flock into a real income stream, these 3 things are non-negotiable before you buy a single bird. If this kind of content is exactly what you need to build a smarter, more profitable homestead, go ahead and tap that subscribe button so you never miss what's coming next on the Profitable Homestead. Not every chicken is built for the same purpose, and this is where most beginners lose money before they even get started. A hen that lays exceptionally well may put on very little weight, making her a poor choice if you're selling meat. A bird that grows fast and packs on muscle in record time might produce almost no eggs worth counting. And if you're running a breeding operation, you need hens that pass strong, productive genetics to their offspring, and not every bird will do that. So before anything else, you need to get honest about one question: what do you actually want from your chickens? Are you in the egg business? The meat business? Are you breeding and selling chicks? Each of those goals points you toward a completely different bird, and picking the wrong one is a mistake that follows you for months. The smartest move is to look at what breeds are already working in your area. Talk to experienced farmers nearby. Find out which birds are already proving themselves in your climate, your market, and your conditions. Which ones are resilient when the weather shifts? Which ones produce consistently without demanding premium feed? Which ones are your potential buyers already familiar with and willing to pay for? You want a bird with a real track record close to home, not just one that looks impressive in a farming catalog. When you get this first decision right, everything that comes after becomes significantly easier. Your feed converts better, your production targets make sense, and you're not constantly fighting against a bird that was never suited to your goals in the first place. Now, once you know your bird, you have to get brutally honest about the cost of feeding it. Feed is the single biggest ongoing expense in chicken farming, and if you haven't run those numbers before your first chick arrives, you're already starting from behind. This is not just about knowing what chickens eat, it's about knowing exactly what feeding your chickens will cost you every single month, and whether your production can realistically cover that cost and still leave money in your pocket at the end. Many beginners skip this step entirely, assuming it will work itself out. It rarely does. Here's a simple way to think about it. Say you're raising 50 laying hens. You find out the price per kilogram of the feed available to you, and you calculate how much each hen consumes daily. Multiply that across your flock and across a full month, and now you have your monthly feed bill. Then look at how many eggs those 50 hens will realistically produce in that same month at their expected laying rate, and check what those eggs are fetching in your local market. Do those numbers leave you with profit after covering feed and every other running cost? If yes, you have a viable operation. If not, you need to adjust before you start, not after you've already spent the money. Beyond the numbers, look hard at whether you can reduce feed costs using resources already on your farm. Many homesteaders are sitting on opportunities they haven't tapped into yet. Silage, crop waste, kitchen scraps, and even insects raised on your property can meaningfully supplement commercially bought feed and bring that monthly bill down. Every reduction in feed cost goes directly to your profit margin. The goal is not simply to feed your chickens, it's to feed them as efficiently as possible without cutting corners on their health or their production. The third thing that gets overlooked far too often is knowing exactly how many birds to start with, and planning ahead for how that number grows. This might sound like the simplest part, but the financial implications catch a lot of farmers completely off guard. When you bring home 40 or 50 chicks, they have a modest daily feed requirement. But within a few weeks, those chicks grow into growers, and then into full adults, and their feed intake rises sharply. The budget that made sense in your first week will not be enough by your eighth. If you haven't mapped out that growth curve before you start, you'll be scrambling to cover costs you didn't anticipate, and that pressure leads to bad decisions. Knowing your flock size also gives you the ability to forecast your income with real accuracy. How many eggs will 50 hens produce weekly at peak laying? What does that mean for your monthly revenue? At what production level do you break even, covering every cost with nothing left over? And at what point does it make genuine financial sense to expand your flock? These are the questions that separate farmers building something lasting from those who struggle through one difficult season and give up. Starting with a number you can manage well, understand completely, and profit from consistently is always smarter than starting big and losing control. Scale when your numbers tell you to, not when your enthusiasm pushes you. Raising chickens is one of the most accessible farming ventures available to anyone willing to put in the work. But that accessibility is also what catches so many beginners off guard, because the low barrier to entry makes it easy to start carelessly. Pick the right bird, build a feeding plan backed by real numbers, and choose a flock size you can manage and grow from. Do those 3 things before anything else, and your operation will be built on solid ground from day one. Subscribe to the Profitable Homestead and share this with someone ready to start their chicken farming journey the right way.